with you guys through our flagship show, the water cooler of content and conversation in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, for the University of Virginia and across Central Virginia. I want to highlight this. I've realized how important this is, especially over the last week. We are unabashed, unafraid, and unaffiliated. I'll say it again, unabashed, unafraid, and very important, unaffiliated. Our commentary is two guys who read a boatload of stuff, who know a hell of a lot of people, friends and acquaintances and associates in powerful and high places that relay information to us, and we're very well aware that the information that's relayed to us can have a self-serving interest for those that are passing that info on to us. It is up to me and Judah to parse through that intelligence and pretty much decipher if it's self-serving or not, and select or choose whether or not to pass it on to you, the viewer and listener. And still we pass along information to you, the viewer and listener, that's coming to us from people in high places that is self-serving to them, but we still pass it on to you because we find it compelling. We find it thought-provoking, and we find it, important. All we're trying to do on the show is to figure out what's going on here. That's all I want to do with this format, is figure out what's going on in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, where we do business, where we own real estate, where we own companies, where we are raising, my wife and I, our 2 children, where we would like to continue our family tree. Today's program, I think, is a pretty good one. I encourage you, the viewer and listener, and I'm going to have you set the stage from Walter Smith, who's coming on the program tomorrow, some of the email that he passed along to us that we'll discuss with him. Tomorrow's show, Walter Smith will be our guest. It'll be a digital interview, a remote interview. He's an attorney by trade. He's a retired attorney. He is intelligent, he is sophisticated, he is a bulldog, he is tenacious. He led the charge for the Jefferson Council with the Freedom of Information Act that uncovered the 239 pages of sordid, alleged malpractice, alleged criminal tactics, behavior, and professionalism or lack thereof within the UVA health system. This attorney, Walter Smith, is going to come on the program tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. And he's led not one, not two, but a handful of FOIA efforts against the University of Virginia, or maybe in conjunction with the University of Virginia, maybe against the University of Virginia, because he's already highlighted to us through email that these efforts have been met with significant resistance. He led a FOIA charge with the triple murder, with trying to get some, the basics, the questions that we all ask, the who, what, when, where, why. And he's going to put in perspective the incredible roadblocks the University of Virginia placed on him. And he has already indicated to us that he was relentless with those efforts, and despite those roadblocks, they just fueled his fire even more to ask why, or to demand why. This gentleman, Walter Smith, on the program tomorrow, 12:30, mark your calendar. It will be a newsworthy show. I think humbly, very humbly, I mean this humbly, our program, this flagship show, is at the cusp of driving the news cycle. A pulse on what's going on. Last night, finally, a Richmond television station, WTVR, out of Richmond, they finally are the first legacy or traditional or old media platform to cover the 239 pages the Jefferson Council published a week ago today on the UVA scandal, the health system scandal. Finally, a legacy media platform has reported upon it. Sadly, disappointingly, it was not a legacy media platform within the Charlottesville market where UVA is located. I'm continue to remain flabbergasted by this. I continue to ask the question, is the health system's advertising budget basically buying silence from legacy media, buying a free pass of accountability from legacy media, because the Jefferson Council has teed up an investigative story that is screaming Virginia Press Awards. As a former journalist myself, I'm self-employed 18 years. In a couple of months, I'll be self-employed for 18 years, where every day I get out of bed and I have to figure out how our firm, our family-owned business, is going to drive incremental revenue that given day while maintaining a roster of happy clients, while serving them to the best of our efforts. And that is hard. Prior to getting into business for myself, I worked in print, radio, and television, award-winning in print, radio, and television. And as a journalist in a prior lifetime, if I was given 239 pages in teed-up fashion like the Jefferson Council did a week ago, I, without question, as a journalist 18 years ago, I would have been in my mid-20s, I would have been able to hit a 350-yard drive straight down the tightest fairway at Augusta National on the 18th hole with a green jacket on the line, and then I would have taken a 5-iron and I would have hit I would hit a 5-iron to within 5 feet of the cup, and I would have tapped in for birdie to win the Masters on national television. That's how easy the Jefferson Council has done this. It kind of gets me thinking, I wonder this. I hope it's not this. I hope it's more, I really, and this is sad. I sadly hope that what's happening with legacy media not covering this story is the health system's advertising budget is so significant. It's buying silence or a free pass on accountability from print, radio, and television. That's what I hope it is. That's what I hope it is. I really would be disappointed if it's print, radio, and television discounting the story because the news is originating with the Jefferson Council, which is an organization that leans conservative, and legacy media leans liberal. I really would be disappointed if that's the case, that legacy media, left-leaning reporters are choosing not to investigate or publish or report on what's going on because legacy media is so left-leaning with its ideology, it is alienated or turned off by right-leaning Jefferson Council teeing up the information for them. I hope to God it's not that. Regardless, Walter Smith is on the show tomorrow in a digital interview, a remote interview that again will help the I Love CVille network dictate the pace and tempo of this news cycle. I have a couple of programming notes or a couple of business notes that I need to get out of the I Love CVille business notebook, and then I'm going to pass the baton to Judah Wickhauer, where you can offer some color and commentary on what Walter Smith has already done with FOIA. I noticed on Reddit that on the Charlottesville subreddit, folks were asking about Coco's Adventure Park, the indoor entertainment center, and they were asking whether it was going to open or not. We broke this news last year that Dr. Daniel Halpert was going to open an indoor adventure park that was going to have a number of things to do for children indoors. And folks were asking on Reddit, what's the news? Why isn't this on legacy media? What's going on? I put a phone call in with Daniel Halpert, the entrepreneur behind Coco's Adventure Center, and spoke with him for about 15 or 20 minutes. His project is very much online. His project is still scheduled to open in Seminole Square Shopping Center. He hopes to potentially open in March, maybe April of this year. Expect $34,000 of total square feet, trampolines, rope courses, bumper cars, zip lines, Ninja Warrior course, a drop tower, LED slides, ball pits, an arcade, a cafe, birthday party rooms, a parents' lounge with coffee and tea, alcohol to be determined. The build-out cost is flirting with $3 million. He said, his exact words, Daniel Halpert, in a conversation with me, this is the hardest thing I've ever done, and this is, guys, a doctor, a medical doctor saying this. His monthly rent, we're talking $35,000 a month in rent, ladies and gentlemen, a 10-year personally guaranteed lease. Seminole Square Shopping Center, Dr. Daniel Halpert, we're going to effort him on the show. It's probably going to be next week, as we also will potentially provide consulting services as we help yet another business owner come to market and strive to gain as much share as possible. I think Coco's Adventure Factory, I've been calling it Center, Coco's Adventure Factory is going to crush it because parents of young children, and my wife and I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, we are constantly looking for things to do for our kids. Constantly. Play squash a lot, basketball. Mike Kinnick's Rock Revolution, I think, is a special place on Old Ivy Road. The Kinnick family is doing amazing things with Rock Revolution. Our oldest son, our 7-year-old, is really getting into rock climbing, and Rock Revolution's the spot. There's a need for indoor entertainment for kids, folks. Flat out a need. Judah Wickhauer, I'd like to go to the studio camera, and then I'd like to welcome you with the 2-shot. I first would encourage the viewers and listeners to take a look at the dapper and distinguished Judah Wickhauer right there. I like the glasses. I don't know why you don't wear those more. I really like those.
Thank you.
Give Judah Wickhauer some props on the talk show. Does the man not look sharp over there? Why are you blushing over there, Judah? I'm giving you some props.
Am I blushing?
Blushing a little bit. You're blushing. Walter Smith on the program tomorrow. Now, here's the most challenging aspect of this interview is producing the interview beforehand with a retired attorney and making sure that we are able to connect with him through our very sophisticated network and software and what I think he's going to do an iPad on his end.
Yeah.
He has indicated. Offer some color and commentary of Walter Smith, the attorney that we have so far, that a man who led the FOIA charge with this UVA health scandal at the Jefferson Council.
Yeah, I think he's made FOIA-ing records his cause celeb, and he's not had an easy time with UVA. He says that of all the entities that he's FOIA'd, UVA has been the least cooperative. He points out the hypocrisy of UVA. UVA puts itself out there as being unequivocal in its support of free expression and free inquiry until they don't want info to get out, and then they're an iron vault. And he says this is even for benign stuff. They just they don't want any discussion of valid criticism, and he goes on to talk about how they've sidelined his submissions for information. Right now, he has got 2 cases in the Court of Appeals. It looks like UVA didn't file on one of the appeals, so he is hoping that he will soon have information, finally, about the murders of the football students at UVA, without all relevant information being blacked out.
Walter Smith tomorrow should be a really good interview. If you have questions for the attorney who led the FOIA charge, send them to us. We'll pass them along to him. It's going to be an interview that drives the news cycle. What about the Richmond TV station, WTVR, finally jumping in the mix 7 days after the Jefferson Council published the 239 documents that it uncovered via FOIA? A legacy platform is reporting on this. Where do you want to begin with that?
I mean, it's pretty amazing, but it's great that a news outlet is finally taking a look at this and getting it out there to the wider public. And they do a pretty good job. I mean, it's obviously not comprehensive. There's a lot. What do we say? There were 239 pages in there, but this does cover a good, a good swath of it, and I'm glad to see it.
Deep Throat, number 1 in the family, offers this comment. He says, I have no doubt, Deep Throat says, that the miseducated 22-year-olds cosplaying as journalists think it's entirely appropriate to ignore news that comes from people of the opposite ideological pole. I'm sure the ad money doesn't help either. To answer your question, Jerry, the reason this is not being reported by legacy media, it's 1, stupidity, 2, ideology, 3, mercenary concerns, and more likely all of the above.
Yeah.
What's interesting for me, I'm a UVA, went to UVA, worked at the Daily Progress. Thank you, Keith. very much. Keith Smith over there. Studio camera, if you want to go there. Market Street cam. There goes Keith Smith, the broker, the talented agent. Thank you for sliding that through the mail slot. When I worked at the university, when I worked at the Daily Progress, and then NBC 29, then Monticello Media, and then finally with syndicated radio through ESPN affiliates, 3 states and into Washington, D.C., 6 days a week, I never considered having the news skewed by my political ideology.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously hard to keep your opinions and feelings out of reporting like that, but I think good reporters manage it every day.
No, well, without question. But I do think it's much more commonplace to have ideology influence journalism and publishing and media now than it was a generation ago when I was doing it. I mean, is it crazy to say now is 2026? When I got into it, it was like, this was before my third year at the University of Virginia. So 2002. I would say that's a generation, 24 years. In a generation, the media has become even more ideologically skewed.
Yeah.
What is that? The impact of social media and mobile and smartphones and digital? And the fact that it's on our fingertips? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's just a symptom of what we see in everyday life, where the people around us are further and further politicized against each other. I mean, go on any social media, and you'll see people essentially othering people, disregarding what people say or think, because their opinions differ.
How about this story from Virginia Mercury, virginiamercury.com? It's basically kind of like a digital, it's an online fantastic media platform that covers politics and the environment and business and government and education, specifically within the Commonwealth of Virginia. The lead headline on virginiamercury.com, which I read often, Cree Deeds is in the hero photo, is Virginia senators grilling UVA leadership over the Department of Justice deal. The leadership search with Scott Beardsley and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Can any Virginia Democrat, and I'm talking Amy Laufer, I'm talking Katrina Carlson, I'm talking Cree Deeds, the ones that represent our community, can any Virginia Democrat answer this question for me? Any legislator in Richmond right now, answer this question for me. If you're going to grill the Beardsley hire, if you're going to grill the DOJ deal, if you're going to grill the eradication of diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you're going to grill perceived Youngkinites, MAGA, Trump's influence, why are you also not grilling this health system scandal?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because of the politics.
Is it because the scandal, the documentation is originated with the Jefferson Council? Why is Cree Deeds, Katrina Carlson, Amy Laufer, Virginia Democrats, men and women of influence and power, they're grilling Board of Visitors members, Sheridan, Porter Wilkinson, they're grilling Scott Beardsley, they're highlighting that his resume, his CV was scrubbed this year of mentions of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're referencing his McKinsey consultation experience, his background of capitalism and business and not academia. They're talking that he's not truly a published academic, or at least one of significant merit or of prolific merit, Beardsley. Okay, I get I understand that's part of what comes with being in a position of power, which Beardsley is in. The top president of any academic institution of the Commonwealth of Virginia is the one at the University of Virginia. And that's no shade against William and Mary, no shade against JMU, no shade against Virginia Tech, no shade against Richmond. If you want to be a school president, there's few higher, more prestigious premier school presidents, university presidents, college presidents than the one at UVA. You could probably pick 8 to 10 that are considered more noteworthy than UVA. So this is a coveted position So Beardsley, this goes with the nature of being a president. But what's hypocrisy to me, what is out of the ordinary to me, what strikes me as being unjust is Virginia Democrats saying, I'm going to grill the Trump, I'm going to grill the DOJ, I'm going to grill the BOV and their hiring of Beardsley and Beardsley of scrubbing his resume of DEI, but I'm not going to touch the UVA health system scandal.
Yeah.
That is odd. And that reeks of
Selective outrage.
okay, God, I was looking for the phrase. Salute you for that. Said it better than I could. That reeks of selective outrage. Does it not?
Yeah. We see a lot of it nowadays.
Does it not reek of selective outrage?
Oh, yeah. They're focused on DEI policies. They're focused on anything to do with Trump and his DOJ is worthy of shining the spotlight, pulling out the the magnifying glass, getting into the nitty gritty of the details. But something like UVA Health and putting children at risk, performing surgeries that performing surgeries that perhaps shouldn't have been performed, eschewing emergency room beds for surgery beds because they bring in more money. You would think that would be just as important to these senators, but instead the focus is on why you went ahead and hired a president when someone who's not even the governor yet told you not to.
Conan Owen watching the program. He's the owner of Surspedia Central Virginia, partner of our show, Surspedia Central Virginia, Surspedia Charlottesville. Conan Owen is who you contact for anything signage related, logo related, anything direct mail related, lanyard related, printing related. The banner directly behind me is a Surspeedy, Conan Owen. If a firm like mine, we have multiple divisions. The whole concept of our firm is to drive market share for our clients. We raise their visibility, we help them find financing, we help them find real estate, we solve problems for them. We are the source of the source. I'm asked every day, what do you do for a living? My job is to solve problems for businesses. And as a result, I charge $2.95 an hour for that. That's what we do at this firm, okay? One of the things we do not do is when a client needs print marketing or tangible visibility for their business or their call to action, we partner with Conan Owen and Surspeedy because we've seen the success of working with him. Just cut to the chase, okay? I got this email from someone who asked for anonymity. This was in a connected person, I should say. And the reason I'm going to read this email, they asked for anonymity, but I'm allowed to read the email verbatim on air. You would not imagine, ladies and gentlemen, the amount of direct message, emails, text messages, and in-person conversations that I'm having with doctors and surgeons and folks tied with UVA Health since we've been covering this story over the last 7 days. We have a direct connection, and don't ask who, I will never reveal my source, with 2 Board of Visitors members who we communicate with on the regular via the Signal app. Okay? So when we're talking the content, the information is coming to us from folks in positions of influence and power, I need to be very straightforward. It is at the pinnacle of power and influence. Okay? This comment comes from Neil Williamson, the president of the Free Enterprise Forum, who's watching the show. He says, for what it's worth, Jay James on the morning show on WINA today mentioned the UVA medical FOIA story, and he indicated that they were fact-checking what was going on. So this is Charlottesville's media, Charlottesville legacy media, old media, traditional media, first leap into this story. We've been covering it for a week now. I received this email from a connected individual who's requested anonymity. One of the reasons that we get the news that we get, the information that we get, is because we are deemed trustworthy and understand the concept of off the record, on the record, anonymous, discretion, privacy. He's asked for anonymity. He says, "Dear Jerry, I've waited long enough to confirm what I already believe to be true, just as you stated on the shows. The FOIA request that was dropped nearly a week ago, during that time, no one demonstrated any willingness to engage seriously with the story outside of you, and you should be applauded. The silence was telling." This individual, a person of power or connection, said, "I took the liberty yesterday of sending the 239 pages and what you've been covering on the I Love CVille show over the last week to a number of media outlets, including yesterday to WTVR Channel 6 and WINA locally." WTVR Channel 6 responds that evening with a story, and WINA the next day responds with, "We are looking into this." So here you have an individual of connection, power, and influence emailing us saying yesterday, utilizing that connection, power, and influence to reach out to WINA and WTVR in Richmond, the TV station, and said, "You have to cover this." WTVR Channel 6 covers it immediately that day, and WINA the next morning makes mention of it on the morning show. Tomorrow's program at 12:30 p.m., Walter Smith, the attorney who led the FOIA charge, will come on the show. So this is our efforts, the I Love CVille show, of taking a story that we were first to cover, and I think have done a pretty good job of doing it, and taking it a step further with an attorney who utilizes his professional credibility, professional resources, his professional skill set to uncover the 239 pages. I want the who, what, when, where, why, and how he did it. After tomorrow's show, and we're messaged, I'm not going to say by who, this individual is watching the program right now. This individual has sent this text to me, I'm not going to say who, says, "For your information, Scott Beardsley's chief of staff is regularly tuning in and watching your show, Jerry." Okay, so when Beardsley's chief of staff tomorrow watches the show, a memo should be sent to the UVA president that Jerry and Judah will be interviewing the attorney that drove the FOIA charge. Okay. Given a heads up. And finally, I guess we give some props to the TV station out of Richmond.
I mean, I'm actually amazed. To wait this long for a story of this magnitude to show up anywhere is insane.
William McChesney, welcome to the broadcast, and thank you for watching the show. We appreciate you, Bill McChesney. Viewers and listeners of all shapes and sizes, of all ideologies and colors, of all backgrounds and perspectives, thank you for watching the program. Dr. Meg Bryce, thank you for watching the show. Georgia Gilmer and Albert Graves and Philip Dow, thank you for watching the show. And Matt Green, we love you. I haven't seen you around the gym recently. I hope you're doing well, sir. Thank you for watching the show. Got folks in Long Island watching the program. Thank you, Long Island, for watching the show. Albemarle County, Richmond, Charlottesville, Crozet, Ivy, Southwestern Virginia, West End, Richmond, Georgetown, Eastern Tennessee, Buckhead, Georgia, Panhandle of Florida, the Outer Banks, Western North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and folks outside Chicago on our heat map right now. All right. Other topics I need to get into, and I'm going to get into the big-time signing of, I'm going to butcher his name, Bo
Pribula?
Pribula. Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
You're good with it. Pronounce it for me.
Pribula?
Yeah. Bo Pribula. I'm terrible at this. The quarterback from Missouri. Once a James Franklin highly touted quarterback, signed to Penn State out of York, Pennsylvania. He plays for Penn State for a handful of years, falls out of favor with James Franklin, pieces out of Happy Valley, heads to the Southeastern Conference, Missouri, where he has success with the Tigers. Then he says, hey, we're in the Gator Bowl. We're playing UVA on the 27th of December. I'm going to just kind of chill here. I'm not going to play in the Gator Bowl. I'm going to let the backup quarterback play because I don't want to risk injury, because my value in the transfer portal is about $1.8 million. We're hearing somewhere between $1.8 million and $2 million. This gunslinger will be compensated by the UVA NIL collective to be the Chandler Morris replacement. We now see the Chandler Morris era is finished at the University of Virginia. Once that 7th year was denied by the NCAA, Tony Elliott and UVA moved very quickly to find a new quarterback, and they're going to open up a Brinks truck, back up a Brinks truck to the McHugh Center, to Scott Stadium, to the Robert Hardy facility, and they're going to say, hey, Bo, come ball with us. We're going to give you $1.8 million.
Considering the money being thrown around for people coming out of the portal, and the quick turnover of athletes now, also because of the portal, does that mean academic excellence at UVA for athletes is put on the side burner?
It's a great question.
Because how do you keep someone?
A lot of these guys already have degrees.
Okay, so you're saying they're not even getting college students anymore.
They're pursuing athletes who are pursuing higher degrees, additional degrees. Antonio Clary in the secondary had 2 degrees and was pursuing a 3rd degree in either his 6th or 7th year in the defensive backfield for the University of Virginia. Chandler Morris already had a degree. You know what's better than playing 18-year-olds, freshmen, fresh out of high school, that are still going through puberty and still developing their bodies? Playing 24 and 25-year-old grown-ass men. Chandler Morris is 25 years old. Like, if you're 25 and you have a college degree already, you have more time to dedicate to football, and you are bigger, stronger, faster than an 18-year-old who's figuring out Ken Elzinga's Economics 101 class. Intro Economics.
That's fair.
Or Lou Bloomfield's How Things Work physics class. It's now a athletic environment built around 22, 23, 24-year-old grown-ass men instead of 17, 18, and 19-year-old men going through puberty and maturing into men. That's why I have so much respect for a program like, and I bring this up again because I see it, Mark Allen's UVA squash program. This UVA squash program, these are student athletes. They are playing a collegiate sport in front of like 100 people on a good day, 150 people on a good day. And these young men and women that are playing squash at UVA are legitimately busting their ass training, waking up at the butt crack of dawn, don't have the infrastructure, the facilities to travel to these Ivy League schools like airplanes, where the UVA football and basketball team is traveling on the nicest of airplanes. They're paid no money. And they stay for 4 years, they keep their nose clean, they stay out of trouble, they get a degree, and many of these guys and gals go to Wall Street or heavy-hitting firms in D.C. and represent the University of Virginia in the finest of fashions. It's mercenary major college sports now, football and basketball. Chandler Morris for 1 year. But I did say this on the Jerry and Jerry show this morning, our sports show featuring Virginia Sports Hall of Famer Jerry Hootie Ratcliffe, Tuesdays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille Network. This mercenary environment of buying players through NIL collectives actually is in Virginia's best interest, because the alumni base tied to the University of Virginia is deep-pocketed and extremely wealthy. I know many billionaires that are tied to the UVA alumni base. So they can buy talent. This is how Virginia was going to be able to compete with the pinnacle of football. It was not through organic growth and building a program. So this actually works in Virginia's favor, as much as I hate to say that. Amateurism at the collegiate football and collegiate basketball level is dead, however. All right, has some headlines to get to at the 1:15 marker of the water cooler content and conversation. We also want to give some props to Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. 61 years in business, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. 61 years in business. The Vermillion family, Andrew Vermillion and John Vermillion, are 3 generations of family-owned Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. Online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. And their sister company, Charlottesville Swimming Pool Company, is online at charlottesvilleswimmingpoolcompany.com. Anything swimming pool related, you call the Vermillions, Charlottesville Swimming Pool Company. Anything sanitary, janitorial, anything water testing, cleaning, anything vacuums, you call the Vermillions, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. The best of the best, ladies and gentlemen. Judah Wickower, comments are coming in. Barbara Becker-Tilley. She says, good reporting is facts and not ideology, or it's not bias. It's facts. We agree
Amen.
with you, Barbara Becker-Tilley. Janice Boyce Trevelyan says, there's so much to this UVA health scandal, including the mismanagement of COVID funds, Medicare, and medical assistance. Medicare, Medicaid, is there any fraud with Medicare and Medicaid? How much of the gray area happened with Medicare and Medicaid?
That's a good question.
How much of the shadiness happened with COVID and the money that was coming in tied to COVID during the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen? You know what? One of the stories that no one's talking about with this health system scandal is during the pandemic, under Craig Kent, staffers at the University of Virginia were forced to take pay cuts. They were forced to take furloughs, cuts of 20 or 25%. They never saw that money back.
Yeah.
They were forced to bypass raises, 401k matches, and perhaps the biggest insult of them all, a UVA nurse that was expected to take a 20 or 25% pay cut, not get a raise that year or a 401k match, and then standing immediately next to her in a hospital room, a traveling nurse that was making 4x her hourly rate.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how angry and how jaded and how bitter you would be if you're a UVA nurse and he or she are standing on their feet for 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts for years, for decades. Mm-hmm. And then during the pandemic, they're told to take a pay cut of 20 or 25%, no matching on their 401k, no raises, and then they bring in a boatload of traveling nurses and they pay them 3 to 4x their hourly rate.
Yeah.
And they have them doing the exact same work and standing in the room right next to each other. That's a storyline that needs to be discussed. Another storyline that needs to be discussed is the affable, the likable Sam Sanders wanting to play Monopoly with taxpayers. Can somebody get me a thimble? Somebody get me the car. I need 200. What's that?
I get the dog.
Judah wants the dog. I'll take the thimble. This is a wild story. Sam Sanders is having, is he calling them work sessions? Is he calling them fireside chats? Is it game night at City Hall with Sammy Sanders? What is going on here? The city manager of Charlottesville wants to play Monopoly. Sam, I get the thimble, damn it. And Judah's already called the dog. You can have the car, Sam. And he wants to give out Monopoly money. And he wants folks to play Monopoly with him. What's going on here, Judah Wickower?
I actually don't think this is such a bad idea. It gives people a pinhole into how the city is run, how they decide what to do with funds. He's essentially setting up 3 different meetings where people can come in. They will be given I believe it's $10,000 in Monopoly money.
That's a lot of Monopoly money.
There will be as I understand it, different areas that you'll be shown where, okay, you can put your money here or here or here. There'll be, different things, different parts of the city budget, and it'll let people say, okay, well, this is how I would, divvy up the money. I think ultimately, after this happens, they'll be given a bit of a presentation on how money is actually allocated to these different different parts of the budget. And I think ultimately what they want to show is that you may think we've got all this money. You just, I think that what they want to show is that it's not a simple thing to decide what needs what money, especially when, this group is saying we need this much, this group is saying we need this much. If you were to give everyone as much as they wanted or say they needed, you would end up obviously over budget.
I can't wait to hear Deep Throat's commentary on Sam Sanders wanting to play Monopoly.
I can't wait
Deep
either.
Throat, please give me something good. Deep Throat, give me something good on Sam Sanders wanting to play Monopoly with taxpayers. Look, Sam Sanders means well.
Yeah, and this is something that every locality has to deal with. What do you do with the money that you have available? There are always going to be things that people want that are going to take your budget over what you have available, and so somebody has to make the decision of what's not getting funded on the budget this year.
Wow. John Blair, we're going to get to your comment here in a matter of moments. Love John Blair. It was good to see you yesterday. You have a very talented son, maturing into a very impressive young man. I sincerely mean that, John Blair. In regards to Sam Sanders wanting to play Monopoly, I respect the effort of where this is coming from. And we have the right lower third on screen?
Yep.
I respect where he's coming from. What he's trying to do, he's trying to localize, humanize, and personalize the plight. That's what this is called. This is a branding effort. Localize, humanize, and personalize. Some of the strategies we utilize with our clients as they try to gain market share is your efforts should be rooted in a foundation of localizing, humanizing, and personalizing your brand, your efforts, your business. Because what separates you as a mom and pop small business owner, whether it's a startup, whether it's a husband and wife team, whether it's a client of ours that's doing $25 million a year in top line revenue, your value proposition is your roots, in part, is your roots of this community. The fact that you give back, the fact that people see you there, the fact that you're honest, the fact that you're communicative, the fact that you're completely different than big box, Fortune 500, Fortune 200, Fortune 100 that's eating market share from your plate. Sam's trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. In his words, he says, we're engaging through the use of monopoly money, giving people a chance to spend money so that they can get a feel for what it's like. And I will show you very quickly that it is no fun. You have hard decisions, you have choices, you have options, you have trade-offs, and you never have enough money to do everything that you want to do.
Yeah, such is life. There's two people that I know that have all the money to do what they want to do. And the interesting, I won't say who it is, those two people that I know that have all the money to do what they want to do, those two people, at least one of them that I know very well, just wants to do the same 2 or 3 things every day, which is what makes him great. I hope he watches and listens to the show. I hope he hears that, because he'll know who he is. That's what makes him great. And one of those 2 or 3 things he likes to do every day is something that I like to do every day. So we have that in common. John Blair's photo on screen. I was friends with a gentleman who owned quite a few daily newspapers in the Southeast. He passed away, but in one of I just got a text message from Dr. Daniel Halpert, by the way, the owner of Coco's. Dr. Halpert, I'll respond to that text message here shortly. Back to John Blair's comment first, sir. I was friends with a gentleman who owned quite a few daily papers in the Southeast. He passed away, But in one of my last conversations with him, he said the biggest void in journalism in the present day was the lack of sources. Journalists used to have expense accounts where they could go out to eat with sources. They used to stay at the same location for 30 to 40 years. They would spend most of their time cultivating sources for whatever beat they were recovering. Once that model disappeared, it destroyed most of journalism, in his opinion. If you didn't have off-the-record sources, you were basically at the whims of spokespeople or whistleblowers. A lot of truth to that. A lot of truth to that. Barbara Bosick is watching the program, and Barbara Bosick, who's a talented realtor, says, in defense of the rest of the media and the stories they report, Charlottesville may be the center of the universe for us, but we are only a little town of 44,000 people near the mountains of Virginia. Sure, everything that happens here is huge, but remember, we are the 15th size city in Virginia. I respect that comment from a very respectable person in Barbara Bosick, who's a talented realtor. I would respectfully push back on Barbara Bosick. My issue is not with the New York Times or the Washington Post not covering the story. My issue is with the Daily Progress and NBC 29 and CBS 19 and WINA not covering the story. And the optics give this impression. One of their top advertisers, UVA Health, which is a behemoth with its advertising budget, is buying silence and a passive accountability.
Yeah.
That's my issue. And when advertising dollars buy silence and a passive accountability, then journalism loses integrity. And when journalism loses integrity, readers fall by the wayside, listeners and viewers. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we've gained market share and why our show is driving the topic matter, is because we're unaffiliated, unabashed, unfiltered, unafraid. Vanessa Parkhill, when are these monopoly sessions? I encourage local business people and professionals to show up and give people a master class. I've heard this exercise rarely includes a bucket where funds are returned to taxpayers. She's absolutely right. I had a conversation with a mentor of mine that at one time owned like $50 or $60 million around Charlottesville and Albemarle County. I had a conversation with him this morning, and he emphasized to me, he goes, you know why the business professionals don't show up to the city council meetings, at the public session, at the public speaking portion, or at these let's play Monopoly with the city manager, fighting over the thimble or the dog? You know why the business owners and the business leaders aren't there?
If I had to guess, it's because they would get the same treatment that was given to Greer Achenbach. Who was,
it's even more simple than that. He says because they're running their business.
Yeah, well, that too.
Because they're working.
Yeah. They're
running their business. Then he says to me, Jerry, how much free time do you have when you're not in the office that you're not thinking about your work? I said, I'm thinking about my work all the time. He goes, exactly. He goes, they're working. That's why they're not showing up to the public speaking portion. And maybe it's shame on us as business owners downtown that we allow somebody like Greer Achenbach, Friends of CVille, to go before the firing squad alone. Shame on us, okay? Shame on us. We should be held accountable. But we are working. We are working. And that's going to come across as being arrogant, but it's frank and it's honest.
Interesting.
Janice Boyce Trevelyan says, have you seen the nursing scandal coming out? Nurses that were given fake degrees. I wonder how many of those landed jobs at UVA. I'm surprised with how many nurses are reaching out to the I Love CVille show now to talk about the UVA health scandal. I'm really surprised. Or maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Deep Throat says the monopoly sessions, participatory budgeting is all the rage these days. Of course, it is the same old activists that show up to these things. We will get the same weird results. And he also says the media isn't going after, the Virginia Democrats are not going after the health system because that would be going after the person on whose watch it happened.
Yeah.
Jim Jogger Ryan, and that would question the whole premise of why Deeds and Company claim Ryan was run out of Charlottesville in the president's position.
Great points.
Conan Owen watching the program. The monopoly money game should start with the disclaimer. All of this money you are allocating is yours. It's tax revenue. You have paid to the city in the form of meals, sales, and property taxes. Since it's your money, Tell us how you think we should spend it best, but an option is to give it back to you if you think you can spend it better than the city government. Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
Interesting. And the city forums are taking place today at City Space, Wednesday at Walker Upper Elementary Cafeteria, and on Thursday at the CMS Cafeteria.
James Watson, I'm going to get to your comment in a matter of moments. James Watson, are you a double who? And Barbara Becker-Tilley wants to emphasize that nurses are the heartbeat of the medical center. Derek Jones is watching on YouTube. He says, "Hi, Jerry. I absolutely love your show. I love your features, and I love your commentary." Thank you, Derek Jones, for watching the program. Did you guys know there's 11 different states that are watching us right now? And they're tuning in because Judah has chosen a different frame of glasses. And they look very good on him right there. Props to Judah Wickower. Ladies, Judah is single and ready to mingle.
I was waiting for that.
He's single and ready to mingle. Slide into Judah's DMs. Slide. Slippity slide into his DMs. James Watson. I still watch local TV news, James Watson says, but I think between social media, podcasts, texts, Zoom meetings, and constant info coming our way, it's difficult for everyday folks to absorb news information if they don't feel like it's affecting their pocketbook or immediate family safety. Yeah. He also says, I think most of the transfers are grad students. Interestingly, though, Virginia only allows football players to attend the Graduate School of Education. I don't believe you can attend any other program like law school, engineering, or business. That would be football players. I believe that is not the case, though. That is not the case for squash players. That is football players, not the case for squash players. One of the highest team GPAs, I need to emphasize, in the athletic department at UVA is squash, collective GPA. These are people that are playing a sport.
For the love of the sport.
Literally not on scholarship, working 45 hours a week at the sport for no future in the sport outside of playing college squash, going into a profession. That's amateurism. That's still beautiful in my book. Ray Cadell, welcome to the broadcast. Literally print, radio, and television watching the program, and I hope you don't think I'm throwing shade at you, print, radio, and TV that's watching the show. I just calling a spade a spade. Next question, Judah Wickower, what do you got at the 1:30 marker?
Next question.
Next topic
is
Andre Xavier, hello. Ann Kilber, hello. Kibler, hello. Troy Robinson, hello. What do you got, Judah Wickower?
What are the plans?
Jeff Gaffney, hello. Curtis Shaver, hello.
The 50-year downtown mall anniversary.
Can we, Sam Sanders? Look, Sam Sanders, you're playing Monopoly with taxpayers. Save the thimble for me, Sam. You're playing Monopoly with taxpayers. Can we get the plans for the 50-year anniversary of the downtown mall? This is the 50-year anniversary of the downtown mall. January is now half over. We have 11 and a half months left. We're in the middle of the 50-year anniversary of one of the only pedestrian malls in the entire country. What are the 50-year anniversary plans for the mall? Are you not surprised that it's not already rolled out? Are you not surprised that there's not a calendar of events?
You know, the sad thing is that what would surprise me if this actually goes off.
Oh my God, that is apathy. That is disheartening apathy, J-Dubs.
I'm just saying, we haven't heard
a pipsqueak.
We haven't heard a whisper about this, and I mean,
how do you not celebrate a milestone like 50? Jeez Louise. What are you guys doing for the 50-year anniversary of the mall? Please stop playing Monopoly and stop monopolizing my thimble and stop giving me fake paper money. And instead, roll out a blueprint for the 50-year anniversary of the effing downtown mall. I mean, right? Here's what I would do for the 50-year anniversary of the downtown mall. I would have allocated days on the downtown mall for Adora, a designated outdoor refreshment area. Maybe it's from the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday during the summer series, Fridays after 5, where music venues are hopping.
Yeah.
Maybe what's the first one? Is it Memorial Day or Labor Day? I get those days so confused. Is the first one Memorial Day or Labor Day?
I'm going to say Memorial, but
Judah's not even sure. You get that day off. This is the first day from Memorial Day to Labor Day, or from Labor Day to Memorial Day, whatever it is. There should be a designated outdoor refreshment area, Adora, where patrons and consumers that are of age can walk from the Ting Pavilion. Is it the Ting Pavilion or the Sprint Pavilion? Well, the pavilion to the Omni Hotel with a cup of booze in hand, beer, wine, spirits. And you want to do armbands, you want to do certain colored cups, whatever you want to do. You want to charge and have a gatekeeper, whatever you want to do. It should be a designated outdoor refreshment area for the 50-year anniversary of the downtown mall. You should have certain areas of downtown Charlottesville that have informational booths. And maybe the informational booth is the thing of the past. Maybe it's QR codes positioned around the downtown mall where tourists, locals, and students alike can scan the QR codes and get some kind of interactive feature on their iPhone, their smartphone, about history of the downtown mall. When it was bricked, when it was pedestrian, when it was no more cars allowed. Everything, history. Give us half a dozen spots on the downtown mall where you can scan a QR code and get the history of the downtown mall over the last 50 years.
Yeah.
You should have scavenger hunts. You should have things to do for children. You should have musicians on busking on the street. I mean, John Blair's idea of having a zip line on the downtown mall for kids that goes above the downtown mall, I think that's effing genius.
Oh, that'd be great.
Having a zip line that goes above the downtown mall for kids to ride, and you can just zip line down the mall from like the Omni Hotel to the Pavilion. That would be so fun. How many parents would bring their kids just to ride the zip line on the mall? Bring the downtown mall holiday train back? Mm-hmm. Do we have a plan for the 50-year anniversary in downtown Charlottesville City Hall?
Do we even have a committee that's...
This is First Night Virginia all over again.
Yeah. Except First Night Virginia at least had a framework in place, despite the fact that nobody's been running it correctly recently. There is still a framework in place, I believe. Whereas for this, there's no... You would think that they would have set up a committee last year and had this thing, in the bag, ready to go.
Dialed in.
Yeah.
No more Monopoly and taking my thimble and Judah's dog. And I don't want $200 of paper fake money to pass go. Next headline, what do you got?
Oh, let's see. Some potential relief for people who don't want to register with Metropolis.
We led that charge. We said on this show that it was bogus, that it was hypocrisy, that Charlottesville City did away with the flock cameras, but used even more evasive technology for its 2 parking garages.
I got to defend them on this because...
Oh my gosh, you would.
Because they hired the company when it was SP Plus. Then SP Plus got sold to Metropolis. Metropolis decided to make the change. And we are in a contract. And you know about contracts. You don't just say, hey, we don't want that. Let's scrap the contract. So,
free parking, Janet's Boys Trevelyan says, for the 50-year anniversary. Judah, you make a fair point. It was in a management contract with a previous company that was purchased by a more capitalized, market share hungry company, and that well-capitalized, market share hungry company started buying up basically the yellow pages or the carrier pigeons or the dial-up phones of parking garage management companies. And then once they gain really big market share by buying up these antiquated companies, that allowed them to get even more private equity infusion because they had more market share. And next thing you know, you basically have 1 or 2 companies with the line, damn near close to a monopoly here.
And they've got their eyes on the prize, which is our information which is the big
They're-
where they're making money.
Their eyes on the prize, as Judah says it, and it's said perfectly, is not the management of automobiles and antiquated parking structures. Their eye on the prize is our effing data, which they're selling to advertisers. Judah Wickower comes in here on a Monday in a red Ford Fusion. Judah Wickower
Be
leaves
giving up my
here
secrets.
on a Monday in the afternoon in a red Ford Fusion with a mysterious blonde lass sitting shotgun in his Fusion. Judah Wickower comes in here on a Tuesday in a red Ford Fusion, but there's no one sitting shotgun. But when he leaves on Tuesday afternoon, there's a brunette sitting shotgun. Judah Wickower is a ladies' man. Look at those glasses. We must be advertising, branding, or positioning companies in front of him that are tied to his ladies' man tendencies. What would be those companies? I was going to take it somewhere rated R, but I now find myself.
Bliss.
What was that?
Ultimate bliss.
I wasn't going to go ultimate. I was going to go more rated R than that.
What alternate universe is this that we're living in?
There's very much still a little kid inside of me. Very much that troubling 15-year-old that was getting his friends in trouble during the school years. I like the bad.
There's a little demon on everyone's shoulder.
What's the bad angel?
Yeah.
The bad. Is it an angel and the devil?
Angel and the devil, or
Stop
whatever you
it.
want to
Why
call
do you
them.
keep following me around?
Yeah, stop.
You leave me alone. But you're so much fun.
And what did you do to the angel?
You're so much fun.
And what did you do to the angel?
Why is the angel not as much fun as you? Why are you so much fun? Leave me alone. All right, we got to get out of here. We're going to go make some money here. Last headline. Tonight, 7 o'clock, ESPN2. You have a battle of two top 20 basketball teams, UVA and Louisville. Louisville's a 3.5-point favorite. The game's at Louisville. Part of the reason they're a 3.5-point favorite is because Louisville's the home team. We're going to learn a hell of a lot more about this Virginia men's basketball team after they face top 20 ranked Louisville today at 7 o'clock. And on Saturday, they travel to Dallas where they're going to face the SMU Ponies. After Saturday, the next 80 minutes and change, we're going to know about Ryan Odom's club. And he's currently ranked 16th in the country. And I said this on the Jerry and Jerry show this morning. This is not the most talented team I've seen in the last generation. Tony Bennett's 2019 team, where he had Braxton Key and DeAndre Hunter and Kyle Guy and Ty Jerome and Mamadi Diakite and Jay Huff and Kie Clark. I mean, good God, look how many pros he had on that team that are still playing pro basketball. Ty Jerome, Kyle Guy, Braxton Key, DeAndre Hunter, and Jay Huff. Those 5 players are playing in the NBA or the G League. Kyle Guy's in the G League. Jerome, Huff. I think Diakite's still hanging around the NBA. He may not be on a team. And Braxton is playing for the Wizards. They're NBA players. Kie Clark is playing in China somewhere. That team has more NBA talent than this team, but this year's team has more depth and plays 10 guys than that 2019 national championship team. Odom has built a balling team. And that DeRitter guy, he is a grizzly bear. There's few college players that are going to be able to stop DeRitter if he imposes his will and gets on the block and starts overpowering people. And Chance Mallory is the face of the program and a superstar. And he's coming off the bench. And that Hugo guy, the transfer from Kentucky and Kansas State, he's one of the best shot blockers in the nation. He's playing about 18 minutes a game. Grunlow is a post player, a three-point shooter, a passer. Dalen Hall's a grown-ass man who's got an assist-to-turnover ratio that's atop the Atlantic Coast Conference. Malik Thomas can get the score at will, off the bounce, from behind the arc at the free throw line. Jakari White, the scuttlebutt, has Jakari White playing in tonight's game with a busted left hand. The downtown shooter, the marksman that's shooting 50% from bonus sphere. This team's loaded. I'll tell you what, who's did a hell of a job today. It's Judah Wickower. Ladies, he's single and he's ready to mingle. My name is Jerry Miller, and this is the I Love CVille Show, the water cooler of content and conversation. So long, everybody.